Fox Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are St. Louis.
Busch Stadium in St. Louis, a place where memories have been created. In 2015, another one added to the list last night. The 1-0. Moss with a high fly ball. Deep center. Taylor back. Walk it off. What a moment. The Cardinals win it. The Cardinals win it with a walk-off from Brandon Moss. Oh, my goodness. The excitement continues here at Busch Stadium, and over 40,000 expected. This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And tonight, the Redbirds looking for a sweep against the Washington Nationals. Brandon Moss is in the lineup for the Cardinals tonight. And in game number 2, his 5th career walk-off home run. And with Tim McCarver and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And Tim, when you think about tonight, a little surprised when we got to the ballpark as we were expecting Michael Wacha to make the start for the Cardinals. They'll push him back, try to save those innings for what they hope is a long postseason run. And Tyler Lyons gets the call tonight.
And Brandon Moss walked off last night. Tyler Lyons walks on tonight, giving Michael Wacha probably 4 or 5 days, because he is not pitching against the Pirates this weekend, so he will probably skip a turn. And Tyler Lyons, certainly a competitive, tough left-hander with a good curveball.
All right, so we're going to see Tyler Lyons, Max Scherzer, the St. Louis native, going for Washington. Also a change in this lineup. Tony Cruz will get the start. Molina will come off the bench. It's game number 3. Baseball and a potential sweep is coming up. It's deep left field. Gone! It's gone! Down to their final strike. Peralta, 2-run bomb! And that sends a jolt through Wrigley. Down the right field line. This is fair! And in the corner, Bridges scores. Here comes Cosma. Hayward to follow, and the Cardinals take the lead in the 8th. Hayward hits it the other way. Well hit. Deep left. And this ball is off the wall. 1-run scores. Here comes another. Hayward delivers with a double. Birds back on top. The 1-0. Boss with a high fly ball. Deep center. Taylor back. Walk it off. What a moment. The Cardinals win it. The Cardinals win it with a walk-off from Brandon Moss. Oh, my goodness. Incredible moments along the way. They are 40 above 500. Baseball next. Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealers for great prices on our all-new 2015 vehicles today. What a beautiful shot that is here in the Gateway City. Home to the game's best record in baseball. Along with Tim McCarver and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. The Cardinals 40 above 500. A look at the Nationals lineup with Jason Worth in the top spot, then Anthony Rendon, Bryce Harper, Ryan Zimmerman, Yanel Escobar, Ian Desmond, Wilson Ramos, Danny Espinosa, a switch hitter. He'll play left field. And the pitcher is Max Scherzer. Lobaton, a switch hitter on the bench. Den Decker and Clint Robinson from the left side. Taylor, Turner, Severino, and Ugla from the right side. And tonight it is Tyler Lyons getting the call.
Probably ahead of ourselves as far as the pitch arsenal is concerned. However, Tyler features a two-seam fastball that goes away from right-handers, a four-seamer that has a tendency to come in, but all of that is disguised around the real good curveball. I mean, a real good 12-6 curveball.
1-0 pitch to Worth. That swung on and missed. Worth hitting .207 against lefties this year, .218 overall in what has been an injury-plagued season for him, but starting to pick it up at the top spot of the lineup.
A couple of hits last night.
And the 1-1. He did go. So says James Hoy, who is your first base umpire tonight. John Tumpane is calling the balls and strikes. Bill Welke at second. The crew chief, John Hirschbeck, down at third. Tyler found out about this start late last night after the game. And a swing and a miss and a strikeout of Jason Worth to start his night.
Good curveball. Here's that pitch arsenal we were talking about. The slider, 30-minute four-seam fastball, little sinker. That's a two-seamer. Good changeup, but a better curveball. And that's what Worth had to handle and couldn't.
Anthony Rendon will dig in, hitting .268. So Michael Wacha, the Cardinals informed him as he was driving home. Apparently got out of the clubhouse very quickly after a late game, anticipating the start tonight, and then was scratched. John Mozeliak was telling us both the other day that this is something the Cardinals are going to do not only with Wacha but with Martinez, which they've done like last night, and probably will do it another time before we head to October. Here's a 1-0 pitch.
And judging from that, Dan, telling him after the game when Michael was on his way home, perhaps the end of yesterday's game determined that now's the time to do it, because during the game you have no idea whether the Cardinals are going to win or not, and they picked up a game on the Pirates, so why not?
I think absolutely
makes sense.
Yeah, that's when they made that decision. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Rendon. Had an interview lined up with John Mozeliak yesterday, and he kept pushing it back and back and back. And he said, well, I was down on the field, and the one guy I wanted to talk to, I couldn't find him, and it was Michael Wacha, and now I'm starting to piece it all together. The idea was, hey, we win this game tonight, you're scratched tomorrow. I'm sure that's that conversation they were having.
Particularly winning it in the fashion they won it last night. Walk-off home run, a 3-run shot by Brandon Moss.
Just an amazing game.
It really was.
2-2. And a ground ball, base hit. Peralta was near the hole. And Rendon with a leadoff hit, and now headed to second. That ball mishandled out in center field. It snuck under the glove of Tommy Pham. Rendon paying attention and winds up at second base. A routine single, and now he's in scoring position.
Rendon paying attention and Pham paying the price. Tommy backhanded that ball. Tough play. Rendon had rounded the bag at first. There is no sense for any base runner to not round the bag at first base. We've talked about that many times. You can go halfway. Look at what Pete Rose did all those years.
I love what you always say, that doubles and triples sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, originate in the box.
They're born in the box, right.
And I was watching Rendon. He did not run hard out of the batter's box at all.
Right. No.
And yet they give him a double on that play.
Most major leaguers don't run hard out of the box.
So here is Bryce Harper. He's in center field tonight. Late scratch in the lineup was Michael Taylor, so they shift Harper from right to center. That's fouled back. Starts play tonight with a month to go. First in the National League in hitting at .333. D. Gordon is at .329. He is second in home runs to Nolan Arenado, one back of him with 31. Arenado also leads in RBIs with 98. Harper is 8th overall with 78. There's that curveball again.
What is Bryce Harper doing? One out, a man on second base, and you're going to bunt? He's an MVP candidate? That detracts from that.
Rendon's double, by the way, extends his hitting streak to 11. He's at second base. And the 0-2.
The point is, I mean, he's their RBI man. 78 RBIs. He'll have 100. but no chance for an RBI. Bunting with a guy on second base, and in a sense, you leave it up to the next guy to do it.
I mean, pass the buck.
Yeah, you pass the buck, exactly.
Here's a 1-2 pitch, and a called third strike. To further your point, Tim, he has nearly 25% of the runs driven in for the offense this year for the Nationals.
There you go.
Enough said.
Yeah. Good curveball from Lyons. Hard curveball. It's what you like to see. Left-handed pitcher to a left-handed batter.
And now it's Zimmerman. He's had a good series with a couple of home runs. Driven in at least a run in 8 of his last 9. .391 average in 5 games against the Cardinals this year. 2 home runs, 6 driven in. Here's a 1-0 pitch.
Good curveball on a fastball count, and he may have crossed Tony Cruz up.
Sure did.
Tony's saying that was a good pitch, but I didn't know it was coming.
You poor catchers.
Oh,
you
man.
poor guys.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're looking for the express and you get the local, you can adapt to it. But if you're looking for the local and you get the express, I mean, it will send the fear of God in you rapidly, and Yachty knows that. Terrifying. If you're looking for that curveball at about 86 and you get a fastball at 92, it looks like it's coming 170.
Ouch. And it hurts.
It does. Scares you.
I bet it does. Guys are throwing 90, 95 miles an hour. 2-1. That's in there for a strike, and it's 2-2. Runner at second base is Anthony Rendon. The 2-2 pitch to Ryan Zimmerman. Swing and a miss. He strikes out the side here in the first.
How about that?
The Nationals and the Cardinals. Home half of the first rolls in, along with Tim McCarver, Jim Hayes, Dan McLaughlin, our entire Fox Sports Midwest crew. What a treat for us. Chance to see Max Scherzer, the St. Louis native. This is the lineup that he'll face. Carpenter, Piscotty, and Hayward. Then Peralta, Moss, and Pham, Wong, Cruz, and Lyons. 5 starts in August. Max Scherzer was 0-3.
Nada. You're right. Gosh.
That is hard to imagine with his stuff. Here's the bench for the Cardinals. Garcia and Stanley on the left side. Molina, Reynolds, Borges, and Cosma on the right side.
3-time All-Star, Cy Young Award, no-hitter this year. June 20th against the Pirates. Almost a perfect game.
Did you see the pitch that hit Jose Tabata,
Yes.
which ruined the perfect game?
Yes, I think it was a breaking ball. That's what you can lean into.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, a lot of baseball people thought he leaned into it instead of trying a little bit to get out of the way of the ball.
Off-speed pitch lifted in the air to center field. There's Bryce Harper. And there's one away. The Hyundai pitch arsenal for Max Scherzer.
Four-seamer, his best pitch. But what has made Max Scherzer, a pitcher that he is today as opposed to what he was when he pitched in St. Louis last in 2008, the changeup.
It's devastating.
Oh, I'm telling you, it's a power change, and you match that with that four-seam fastball. Very, very difficult to hit.
It's a foul ball by Stephen Piscotty. You see the delivery by Scherzer. It's kind of a violent delivery, which then you think with all those arms and legs coming at you, and all of a sudden, whoop, there goes the changeup.
Right.
Makes it tough to hit.
Trying to hit out of moving body parts.
Get a good look at it here. It's a fastball at 94. Max out of Parkway Central High School here in St. Louis, then went on to the University of Missouri. Folks forget he was originally drafted by the Cardinals back in 2003 and did not sign.
43rd round.
And then became the 11th overall pick by Arizona in 2006. Mike Rizzo was running that part of the organization with the Diamondbacks at the time, and now he's the GM with the Nationals, so knew plenty about him.
You know, I had forgotten that. Excellent point. Well, you know about the guy, you can see the stuff, but he is one of the premier citizens in Major League Baseball. Just a wonderful guy. Huge fan of the University of Missouri in every sport.
Well, this is odd. They're looking at the baseball, gripping it.
Wilson Ramos. Yeah, that is strange.
Something may not be right with him.
Right.
Trying to think about gripping a ball and throwing it if you're a catcher. If you can't do that, you can't play.
Yeah, I mean, there was no foul tip or anything like that. And up to now, it's either Carpenter or the 0-2 count or 1-2 count on Piscotty.
And a ground ball hit deep in the hole and under the glove of Ian Desmond, and a base hit for Stephen Piscotty. Look at the Nats defensively. Espinosa is in left, Harper in center, and Jason Worth is in right. Escobar, Desmond, Rendon, Zimmerman along the infield, Ramos behind the plate. That's presented by Dobbs. Cincinnati already posted a victory today over Chicago 7-4. Hoover picked up the win. He's 7-0. The save for Chapman, number 27. Jeff Locke throwing for Pittsburgh tonight against Milwaukee, and it's 2-0 already. Brewers in the first. Pitch inside to Jason Hayward. To further our conversation that we had with John Mozeliak, I said, what do you see with Jason Hayward? What kind of player is he? We hear about the great defense and the metrics and the different things that you can use to evaluate and judge a player. clearly he's hitting much better after that dreadful start. And he said, I'm going to tell you, one of the things that we see out of him that you cannot measure is that behind the scenes and in the dugout, he brings us energy. He has given us a sense of energy, a jolt of energy, if you will, in our lineup day in and day out. The attitude, which then bleeds into what I feel, this is what John was saying, very good team chemistry, which is important, he said.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Look at that. What is this, wiffle ball? What?
Even Zimmerman, look at him.
That way he threw the ball in the lights. Here, Ryan, try that.
What is going on here? Here's a 1-1 pitch to Hayward. Hayward rips it foul. Well, Scherzer just lollipopped it over to first base. We've seen where John Lester won't even throw to first base.
Yeah. We may see John Lester next Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday when the Cubs come to town. We'll also probably see Michael Wacha.
And the Cardinals were not shy about taking those enormous leads off of John Lester, and why not? Makes all the sense in the world to do it.
Absolutely.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Hayward. And time is called.
Now, most of the fans are thinking that Max Scherzer perhaps or the catcher called timeout, but it was Jason Hayward that called timeout.
Long look and a 1-2 pitch. Much better move this time.
Anything would have been a much better.
Right. Hayward in the first 2 months of the season hit .251. Since that time overall his average .314. Right now it's at .290. He's got a chance to hit .300 for the season.
Like a changeup grip right here.
And a ground ball that's hit to second, out there and back to first. Hayward gets down the line and he's safe.
That was actually a fastball from Scherzer. It's one of the toughest things in the game to run hard to first base after you know you have just been charged with a time at bat. You know the one out and he beat the throw. You never know where that could turn. Could lead to a run, could lead to 2 or 3 runs.
Brandon Moss 2 nights ago beating out that double play.
Oh yeah.
So here's Johnny Peralta. What if the Cardinals, after picking up what we saw with Wilson Ramos trying to just grip the baseball, would try to run, especially with Hayward, who has 20 steals this year, only caught twice, and he's still shaking that throwing hand.
That is a point with which we are impressed, Mr. Mack.
Wow.
You've almost turned this game into cricket.
I'd like to hear you on golf.
No, you wouldn't.
Oh, I would.
No,
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, it'd be funny. I'm not a good golfer.
You don't have to
start.
I just want to hear you
showing up my golf game because it's awful.
Oh, it's not that bad. No way.
Never played together. Don't say that. It is. I guarantee you.
Do you swing lefty or righty?
I'm a left-hander.
You know, some guys go the other way.
In 1959, I signed with the Cardinals, and I signed with Louisville Slugger. I got a check for $5 and a set of right-handed golf clubs. I'd never played before.
$5.
$5.
A strikeout for Max Scherzer, his first of the night. Cardinals strength to Brewers. Where are those clubs now?
I sent him back for left-handed about 50 years ago.
Carpenter, Peralta, Wong, and Moss along the infield. Tony Cruz is start behind home plate. Lyons on the mound. He struck out the side in the first. That's presented by Dobbs. We were just talking about the Cardinals caravan. And I think we're going to have to get you on one of those caravans. Get you up from Florida when it's nice and warm and around, January 15th here. We'll hop in a bus. We'll have a little fun. You in or out? You'll think about it.
We'll talk.
I think I got my answer. Here's Yanel Escobar. There's that good breaking ball in strike one. He's hitting .309 this year, 9 home runs, and he's driven in 43. Strike one, so important for anybody, but especially for Tyler Lyons when you look at the numbers and what he's done when he gets strike one. There's a fly ball lifted into shallow center. Pham broke back, and now he'll come on and make the catch. Opponents have hit 196 off of Lyons in his major league career when he gets strike one. If he doesn't get that, they hit 303.
Well, for a young pitcher who does not throw hard, he can't overpower you with the fastball if he misses early. A guy like Michael Wacha has many other pitches. He gets his changeup over, a fastball over. So when he's behind in the count, he has other ways of getting you out.
Ian Desmond is hitting .234, 17 home runs. He's driven in 50. There were reports, Tim, that Desmond was offered 7 years and around $110 million last offseason. Turned it down, wanted to play out this season, going to free agency. And you wonder how much that has played in effect, if at all, into what has been a down year for him. He's a 3-time Silver Slugger Award winner.
Anybody who knows human nature has got to think that it's played into it somewhat. And that's the dice that are rolled when you're turning down a set amount of money, and that's a lot of money to turn down in hopes of getting more.
Numbers way down from a year ago. Fouled back. We talked a lot about defensively the issues that he had at the beginning of the season. 23 errors, and he will strike out, it looks like, back-to-back seasons over 150 times. Only other shortstop to do that in a 2-year period was Jose Hernandez of Milwaukee. And he strikes out here. That's number 148. 4 strikeouts for Tyler Lyons. Some of the Cardinals that are slowly but surely getting back. There's one of them, Matt Holliday, starting to run a little bit. This is good to see. Adam Wainwright. Adam telling me today that he will travel with the team from here on out with the hopes that at some point he pitches. Wouldn't that be something?
It really would. It would surprise and even shock a lot of us.
Ground ball off the bat of Ramos, and a 1-2-3 inning for Tyler Lyons. Coming up, last night's hero, Brandon Moss. He'll lead it off. The pitching has been the story here in 2015. With more on that, let's check in with Jim. Jim.
Hey, you talk about the bullpen. The Cardinals don't win that game last night unless Carlos Villanueva doesn't come in and stop the bleeding. Carlos, 3 1/3 scoreless innings, struck out 6 along the way. The impressive thing is Carlos hadn't pitched in 10 days, but he's used to it by now. He told me he had to accept that he's, quote, not like other pitchers on the staff. When the starters are going well, Carlos knows he's not going to pitch. He says you can throw bullpens and keep your arm ready, but his role is all mental, not worrying about people asking you if you're still on the team or doubting yourself when you finally do get a chance to get back in a game. Dan, he's got plenty of experience dealing with the mental side. Back in 2010, when he was with the Brewers, Carlos went 21 days between appearances. 21.
Jim, did the Cardinals, and that's good stuff, did they also talk about, you know, what Harris was doing in the minor leagues and what he improved upon to get back to this level?
Well, he had to throw strikes, and he knew that when he went back down. He worked on it. He played a key role last night. And then you think about getting the win. You talk about Villanueva, you talk about Mitch Harris. How about Cody Stanley getting the double, Pham walking, and then the walk-off by Brandon Moss. I mean, a lot of guys making contributions.
So 2 scoreless there from Mitch Harris. There's Cody Stanley with his base hit to left that started the rally for St. Louis. And Brandon Moss has started to swing the bat well. 1-2 pitch. Last 6 games hitting .421 with 3 homers.
That's a salient point because this just didn't start last night. Started last Thursday in Arizona when he got the game-winning home run, the 2-run shot. Cardinals won 5-3.
I would also say too, Tim, and we mentioned it last night, the way that he's taking pitches and drawing walks. That's
you
when
take
you know,
like you hit.
Yeah.
A lot of people say no to that, but that's a fact. You take like you hit.
Deep drive, long one. Oh my! One of the longest home runs ever to deep right field here at Busch Stadium, and this man is red hot. I think that's the longest home run I've seen at this ballpark to right. Holy smokes.
Cannon fodder.
If you hit the ball over the bullpen and there's a strikeout of Pham and it lands in the seats, the section right behind the bullpen, that's a mighty poke. To go a few rows up from that,
you know, I didn't see where the ball landed. I've got to, but we're going to, all of us together.
Wow.
Over the exit. Right over the exit in right center field. My gosh.
That has been an issue here for Max Scherzer. He allowed 10 homers in 8 starts since the All-Star break after just 10 in 18 starts. The hero of last night and a blast here tonight.
Talking about a prodigious poke.
Even the reaction of Wainwright, his hands on his head like, I can't believe that.
Got out of here so quickly.
And Wong with a fly ball into right center, and that ball will get down. 1-out hit for the Cardinals second baseman. How many times have we seen this in baseball where a guy will throw 8 or 9 innings, next time out not as sharp, and sometimes maybe for the rest of the way not as sharp? Well, that's the case here for Max Scherzer. Since his no-hitter on June 20th against the Pirates, his ERA is 4.40, 15 home runs allowed in those 13 starts, and at one point he certainly was in the conversation for Cy Young Award.
No, absolutely not anymore, but you know, the Washington Nationals hanging on by their fingers, the tips of their fingers, trying to catch the Mets. What a horrible 2 games that the Nats and Matt Williams have lived through the last 2 nights.
We were talking before the game, it has to be their 2 toughest losses of the year.
Absolutely.
Cruz, a base hit into right. Wong stops at second. 3 hits in the inning. Well, I was right. 454 feet. Longest home run by a left-handed hitter in the history of this stadium, which is 10 years old.
That shouldn't surprise you that you were right, by the way. I know I'm sucking up to you a little bit.
Well, thank you, Tim.
But yes.
Thank you very, anything else you'd like to add?
Don't be surprised.
It's all yours.
Don't be surprised when you're right.
Here's Lyons to bunt, and he pushes it foul.
Again, Tyler will try to make the third baseman feel the ball because Zimmerman is right on top of him at first.
Here's the 0-1.
Trying to be too perfect.
0-2.
The best explanation of bunting that I ever heard, and it's very simple: catch the ball with the bat. Extend it into fair territory and then catch the ball with the bat.
First and second, one out. 0-2 the count on Lyons. Here's an 0-2. Second strikeout in the inning. Third tonight for Max Scherzer. Top of the lineup. Runners at first and second. 2 outs. Carpenter hitting .347. with runners in scoring position. Thinking about some of the Cardinal left-handed bats that could hit long home runs. Chris Duncan, one of them. Brief time, Russell Branyan was here. He would hit monstrous.
Jimmy Edmonds.
Edmonds played briefly in this ballpark. Beltran and Berkman, but that is the longest home run ever in the history of Busch Stadium 3 from a left-handed batter. The 0-1. Matt fly to center, first time up. .454 feet. Fifth longest at the new Busch Stadium. Longest ever by a left-handed hitter. The 1-1. And Moss was saying the other day about, in his opinion, this is a pitcher's park. Hard to hit home runs in this ballpark. He should know he's hit about 5 to the track.
In the last, 7 games, he has had 4 home runs and a triple. And all the home runs were important. And the triple was important. To open an inning on Saturday against the Giants that led to 4 runs. Game the Cardinals won.
Here's a 1-2 to Carpenter. Hit out of play. You can see how Scherzer holds the ball out there on the mound, Tim, and that's just to change the variance of his delivery in terms of not having a pattern. He's told us about that before, as well as many times it's called from the dugout. Hold the ball, hold the ball, hold the ball.
Okay, if I'm a pitcher, I don't want people in the dugout telling me while I'm on the mound what to do. Tell me when I'm off the mound, but not when I'm out there.
The 1-2. And Carpenter skies one into center field. Bryce Harper puts it away. Brandon Moss, longest home run by a left-handed batter at Busch Stadium 3. That's where it landed. To the amazement of Adam Wainwright.
Something, huh, Wayno?
To the top of the third here at Busch Stadium. Let's turn to our Toyota keys to the game.
With Tyler Lyons, can he match the relief duty? He has been terrific in relief in his major league appearances. Much better than he has been as a starter. And that is what we're talking about. So far he has.
Switch hitting Danny Espinosa. 246 overall. Lyons has talked about the different speeds with his breaking ball. That last one very slow. The 0-2. And he got him with a changeup. 5 strikeouts to start his night.
Good spot for that changeup too. Make him reach. He did. Thing about Tyler Lyons' breaking ball, it appears to me, it's a lot tighter than most curveballs. And when it's tight, it's got that little gyroscope spin on it, and he's allowed to throw it harder than most guys who feature curveballs. It's not a, generally speaking, it's not a slow curveball.
You know, Tim, we were talking about Desmond taking a chance in terms of a walk here, not signing the deal that was offered to him. Max Scherzer did the same thing, and boy, did it pay off. Well over $200 million signed by the Washington Nationals. Now, he did have an insurance policy out that would have paid him $40 million if he got hurt, but not close to what the $200+ million that he is now enjoying as a pitcher for Washington. The 2-1 pitch. Like many of us, born and raised here, grew up a Cardinals fan. Talked to Max about that. He said he used to love watching Ozzie Smith Ray Langford, a couple of his favorite players. 3-2. And a strikeout of Scherzer. That is 6 strikeouts of the first 9 he has seen. Keep up with the pennant races in true HD quality on MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service. And college students enjoy a back-to-school offer with 35% off a discount. Authentication required. Blackouts and other restrictions apply. All you have to do is visit MLB.TV today. How about that? 6 of 9 go down via the strikeout.
I was just thinking, I wonder if he has ever done that in the minor leagues. He has not done it in the major leagues.
Not as a starter.
No. I don't think he's ever struck out 6 of 9 during any streak, even as a reliever, has he? I wouldn't imagine.
Last year, and I think it was against the Cubs in a doubleheader, and it was one of his best outings.
Well, he did work the first game of a doubleheader on July 7th of this year. That was its split doubleheader.
So he had a career high 8 strikeouts in 4 2/3 relief appearance, game 1 of a doubleheader last year. That was the most strikeouts by a Cardinals relief pitcher since 1978. The first lefty to strike out 8 since the Mad Hungarian in 1974, Al Raboski. The 2-1. Worth struck out on a curveball his first time up. Well, Tyler did throw a no-hitter in the minor leagues. Grew up in Lubbock, Texas, and pitched at Oklahoma State. The 2-2.
I don't know if you see T. Boone Pickens, who has been the largest, by far the largest contributor to Oklahoma State University. He had a great line about a month ago on the Financial Channel. I was watching, and they called him a legend. He said, "You know my definition of a legend? It's a 75-year-old with a job."
Well hit into center. Pham is back at the wall, and this game is tied. Jason Worth with his 6th home run, and it comes on a 2-2 pitch.
Tell you, even with that long home run by Jason Worth, and it's understandable if it happened. That looked like a tailing fastball and just hit a ton to center field. Jason with those long arms. Actually, that pitch was a ball off the plate. My point was, I mean, this Washington team really looks cooked.
Just thinking that.
Losing 2 rugged games. I mean, 2 Cardinal wins the last 2 nights. Horrific in baseball terms.
Rendon is jammed in foul territory. Brandon Moss puts it away. Home run by Worth. We're tied at 1-1. turns 38. Our T-Mobile Data Strong fan of the game. Hashtag MW Data Strong fan. Send us your picks. We'll have one coming up later in the telecast. Jason Worth with a long home run to center field to tie the game up at 1. And here's Stephen Piscotty. Little flare into shallow right. And this ball drops for a hit. Everything going his way.
Oh, boy.
The throw behind, and the ball scoots away from Ryan Zimmerman.
Yeah, had that been a good throw and not in the dirt, he's out. It's the thing. You can't advance around first base that far with an alert right fielder. Jason Worth is all of that. Immediately throws, but the throw is a short hop. Gets away from Zimmerman, actually hit the umpire.
Tell you what, that wasn't much of a short hop. That ball was almost on the bag. Zimmerman should have caught that.
Well, sometimes you're at first base, you're trying to get back so fast that you don't know where the bag is and all that sort of stuff. You have to turn around quickly.
So now here is Hayward, who grounded into a fielder's choice. Also, very happy birthday to the 98-year young Jack Schaefer of Albers, Illinois. Lifelong Cardinal fan. Never misses a game on Fox Sports Midwest. Happy birthday to Jack Schaefer. Breaking ball and a strike. Piscotty singled between third and short first time up, and now a bloop base hit into shallow right. 2 for 2 tonight. There's not much going against him since he's come up to the big leagues.
No, he's made things happen.
There's that changeup it looked like from Scherzer. No balls and 2 strikes. Brewers have added to their lead over Pittsburgh 3-0. That's in the bottom of the third. The 0-2. I don't know, you're not huge into, well, if the Cardinals do this by the end of the year, you're at this.
No.
However, to put things in perspective, if the Cardinals get to 100 wins, they could go 14-16 the rest of the way to get to 100.
Well, that is a little bit different now. That puts it different. But when you start talking about when the Cardinals play 500 ball for the next month, the Pirates have to play 885 ball or whatever it might be. That's a trap. Start thinking that as I know that's the fun part really of our job, and that's also putting things in real terms. But the players, they don't think that way. Managers will not allow them to think that way.
Hayward pops it up into shallow left center field. Desmond going out to make a basket catch. And there's one away. Cardinals are in the hunt for the playoffs, and join us for Outdoors Night presented by Cabela's at Busch Stadium Tuesday, September 6th. Fans purchasing the special theme ticket take home a one-of-a-kind mossy oak camo hunting cap. Cardinals.com/theme.
The last team to win 100 games, the 2011 Philadelphia Phillies, and they were 86-46 at this time. Same record as the Cardinals have.
And the point being with that, Cardinal fans know all too well, just get in. It really doesn't matter. Once you're in, everybody's equal, and the Cardinals knocked off the Phillies in 2011.
Yeah, get in and win the division by getting in. That's what's important nowadays. That's when the second wild card team was added in what year?
12.
I forgot. In 12, yeah, that's right. The year after the Phillies lost that unbelievable Chris Carpenter 1-0 game in Game 5 in Philadelphia. Ryan Howard tearing his Achilles after making the last out of the game, if you can believe it.
That team hasn't been the same since that night.
Not even close.
1 ball, 1 strike on Johnny Peralta. The record for wins for the Cardinals was set back in 1942. 106. But you're so right. I mean, that first game, 1-game playoff, anything can happen.
Wicked.
And it's not a way of, I don't know if this is the right way to put it, penalizing a team for not winning the division. But it does reward those that do win the division. You get a little rest. You can hopefully set up your rotation. Where in that 1-game playoff, you're going with you would have to assume your ace in that game.
Right.
It would not be available then in game 1 or maybe even 2 of the division series.
Example, if the Pirates meet the Cubs for a 1-game playoff, the Cubs have to use Jake Arrieta and the Pirates would have to use Garrett Cole. So they go into facing whoever they face the next round, the winner of that game, the best 3 out of 5, with Cole and Arrieta not being able to pitch until game 3.
I just wonder, just thinking out loud here, if you're the Cubs and you do face the Pirates, do you go with John Lester because of the left-handed bats that they possess? And that's hit out to left field. That'll drop in for a hit. Espinosa playing deep in left field, normally an infielder. And Peralta is aboard. He's 1 for 2. And then, having said that, if you're the Cubs, would you be inclined not to start him? And I would start Arrieta anyway, but I'm just thinking out loud.
Right.
If you started Lester in a 1-game playoff, knowing his issues of throwing over and the Pirates' speed and athleticism, they could really take advantage of that. I mean, there's just something to think about.
Yeah. That's another story entirely. But I mean, Arrieta's one of the time. I mean, Arrieta's will be in the voting for the Cy Young Award.
Sure.
I mean, he is tremendous this year. Just off a no-hitter.
Runners at first and second for Brandon Moss. And Brandon now up to 19 home runs combined with Cleveland and St. Louis. 58 RBIs this year. 2 balls, no strikes. Two and 1. That pitch at 95. Moss pulls it foul. AT&T U-verse Rewind, and if just joining us, Brandon Moss, longest home run hit by a left-handed batter ever in this ballpark, 454 feet. The reaction from Wainwright was priceless. Two and 2 the count. Scherzer has been dealing with runners on all night.
I don't think he's seen the runners here.
Seen it a couple of times here, Tim, where that breaking ball has been flat from Scherzer, and they say that's been his primary issue coming into this start. A couple of good ones too. Took something off it, and a strikeout.
That was a good changeup to get Moss.
Here's Tommy Pham, who struck out his first time up. Inning started with a base hit. A bloop base hit by Piscotty into shallow right. Hayward popped out to short. Peralta a single into left. Moss the strikeout. So 2 on, 2 outs in a 1-1 game here in the home half of the third.
It's a disappearing slider right there. That was his best of the night in my view.
Ramos Ramirez, a 3-run homer for Pittsburgh. They tied their game up at 3 with Milwaukee. And the 1-2. Pham strikes out. Back-to-back Ks for Max Scherzer. 5 on the night. Sends us to the 4th. 1-1. Bumgarner and Arrieta, the strikeout leaders this season. And Scherzer at 209. And Kershaw at 236. DraftKings.com. And the promo code CARDS. So here we go. Bryce Harper. Breaking ball and a foul ball. We both were a little perplexed. First time up, Bryce Harper digs in with a runner at second base and was trying to bunt with 1 strike.
And 1 out. That will perplex one.
His power numbers have been down here in the second half. A fabulous first half. Only Giancarlo Stanton had more home runs before the break. The 0-1 pitch. And a little looper hit to the second baseman, Colton Wong.
We don't see Bryce Harper overmatched in 2 consecutive at-bats. He struck out his first time on that curveball, that sweeping curveball, and he gets another one. Bailing out. Good hard curveball by Lyons.
And here is Ryan Zimmerman, who struck out back in the first inning. Lyons with 6 strikeouts in the first 9 he faced tonight. Tonight 6, the first 9, 3 innings. And back on May 5th, 6 strikeouts against the Chicago Cubs. That's taken low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's a 1-1. Pulled foul. First time for you to see Lyons in person. I know you've seen him on TV, but I'm assuming you're coming away a little impressed right now.
I'm impressed with his sweeping breaking ball, yes. You can tell he's feisty also.
The 1-2. Here's that big breaking ball again.
I didn't think his curveball was as hard as we're seeing tonight.
Last night was the 16th time the Cardinals won a game when trailing in the 7th inning or later. First time in the history of the Nationals they've had back-to-back losses like that. Think about that.
Yeah.
That's well hit. Deep left, and Ryan Zimmerman in 3 consecutive games has homered against St. Louis. 2-1 Nats.
He only had 12 home runs coming into the series. That gives him 15, a changeup from Tyler Lyons. As the Nationals try to rally around the Virginian. Went to the University of Virginia, from Virginia. Those of you who may be familiar with the Civil War, First Battle of Manassas was when Thomas Jackson, General Thomas Jackson, was a head of artillery, and a reporter there said, "Rally around the Virginian, boys. He's standing there like a stone wall."
There's a base hit for Yunel Escobar into right center.
And the legend of Stonewall Jackson was born. So that's what the Nats are trying to do. I tell you, Ryan Zimmerman's done all he can do in this series. Cruz wanted the ball down, and the pitch remained up out over the plate.
Cruz trying to settle down Lyons. After striking out 6 of the first 9, he's given up 3 hits, 2 of them home runs to the next 5. And a ground ball hit to short, tough to turn to. The turn by Wong, and safe at first.
And Brandon Moss figuring I might as well try to cheat over here, come off the bag to get the play. That's what first basemen do. Mike Matheny may want to look at it. He appeared to be safe to me.
It's David Bell on the phone, his bench coach.
Looks like he beat it. Close play.
First replay, I said he beat it. Then I watch it again. I say, well, then he's out. It's one of those plays. I mean, sometimes I find myself looking at the various replays.
Yeah, I do too.
And I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
What that tells me, though, is that from a manager's perspective or whoever's watching that, they say, well, if it's not conclusive, don't challenge.
Right.
Here's Wilson Ramos. And a ground ball base hit into right field. And the runner should be at third. Well, that was slowly hit. And Desmond was not running hard towards second.
Well, I think he gave up on that. He checks and sees where Hayward is. And a lot of times when you charge the ball in a hurry, that stops the runner. Doesn't matter what kind of throw, but with Hayward's reputation, a lot of guys will hold up like that. Of course, you can't round the bag in that situation because Hayward will throw behind you. Or he can't. 2 outs. Again, it's the number of outs where you take a chance. With 1 out, you take the chance. With 2 outs, you can't make the third out at third base.
And I understand that, but you know, Desmond is a good runner.
He's a fast runner. I understand. Not trying to shoot holes in your explanation, partner. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, no, no.
I wouldn't do that. But I mean,
I could see it either way.
Yeah. I think the number of outs, whenever the number of outs says you don't want to take the chance, then you stop.
0-2 the count. Lions at 56 pitches on the night. That's a 10-game hitting streak now for Wilson Ramos. Espinosa struck out back in the third. Lions with 6 tonight. And here's an 0-2.
Your point about running on Ramos, when you see him run the bases, we saw him with the bruised right hand. Tell you, I open things up if I'm Mike Matheny, the Cardinals. He could barely walk out there. I mean, he barely walked to first base. Really problems with those ankles.
What a difference a year makes for the Washington Nationals. Last year, 96 and 66. Finished 17 games in front of the Mets and Braves. That was a National League high 96 wins. Matt Williams was the National League Manager of the Year. Clint Hurdle,
lights out bullpen.
Yeah. And this year just trying to hold on. Mets in the bottom of the 7th, leading 7-4 over the Phillies. And time is called.
Yeah, they had a tough time getting to where they were going then. A lot of times a pitcher may not shake a catcher off, but he'll stare him off. He'll keep staring until he gets the pitch he wants. And with the runner on second base, sometimes that takes time.
Cardinals added to the depth in their bullpen. Miguel Sokolovich is up along with Nick Greenwood, and a right-hander begins to throw right now. You manage differently with the expanded rosters.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's in the dirt. Base is loaded. The first walk issued by Lions here tonight. Jason Worth will be on deck, and this is Max Scherzer. You can see how Mike Matheny with the young guys up. Gonzalez last night. Lions here in Game 3. That leash is probably pretty short with the depth that you have in your bullpen. Off day tomorrow. I'm not sure you would do this with the guys that brought you here, but certain pitches you would.
That's valid. I think what happens right here with Espinosa determines whether Tyler Lyons stays in the game. His spot is up third in the fourth. I beg your pardon, was Scherzer up? Espinosa had just had that base hit.
Join us for Academy Sports and Outdoors Autograph Nights, the 6th and final autograph night, Friday, September 4th. 2 current Cardinals will sign autographs in the Ford Plaza for fans 15 and under. 2 former Cardinals will sign for fans of all ages. Visit Cardinals.com/promotions to find out more. So 2 outs, bases loaded, and strike 1 on Max Scherzer.
Very important to get that first pitch over so he doesn't rush things, tighten up.
Just thinking that you get the pressure that builds.
Yeah, right.
It is Miguel Sokolovich that's throwing in the pen, and Scherzer grounds it to short in a forced play at second. The Nats strand the bases loaded, but they pick up their first lead of the night. The home run by Ryan Zimmerman. He was scratched in favor of Tyler Lyons. With more on that, let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Dan, given his choice, Michael Wacha would pitch, but he told me he totally gets why they're pushing him back. Wacha told me, and you guys mentioned it, he didn't find out about being moved until after he left the ballpark last night and got a phone call. He told me he feels very strong right now, but if they feel it's the right move, he'll, quote, take the rest and get ready for my next start. Mike Matheny says getting Wacha a break when they could was discussed at length during the offseason. He says they think it's best for Michael in the long run. As Mike put it, the easy thing is to keep firing him out there. Dan, they're thinking longer term.
How many times, Jim, when you were visiting with Derek Lilliquist or Mike Matheny, did they think about potentially skipping Wacha and Martinez as Colton Wong? Is he hit by the pitch? No, he is not. But how many times are they talking about skipping him?
They're not sure. They want to see how the rest of this plays out before they make a decision on that. They have announced what the rotation is for the Pirates series, but they have the luxury of figuring out when is a good spot to give these guys a rest. you know, was something they talked about before the season started, that they wanted to monitor the innings, not only for Carlos, but for Michael Wacha as well. And as you guys pointed out, why not do it now when the team is doing well and has a bit of a cushion? So I think they want to pick their spots when it serves them best to do it.
That pitch down and in to Colton Wong. Single to right center. You think about it, Tim, you go back to spring training, that was the big conversation point as Matt Den Decker takes over for Bryce Harper. We'll hope to get word on what's ailing Harper, but
strange move.
You know, the big talk was, first of all, who would be your fifth starter? Martinez winds up being that after Garcia got hurt at the very tail end of spring. And then about the health of Michael Wacha. We rarely talk about that anymore. There's a base hit for Colton Wong, who is 2 for 2. But Tim, you mentioned it. You know, Harper did not look comfortable in his last at bat. So
tried to bunt with a runner on his second base and 1 out, his first at bat, and then looked really bad that second at bat, bailing out and popping out weakly to second base. So we don't really know what's wrong with Bryce.
And here's Tony Cruz, who has hit safely in each of his last 4 starts. A single to right field. Wong certainly a threat to steal.
Also, the thing about Michael Wacha is the most obvious is things heal. I mean, over time, I mean, it's been a year since Michael's had the shoulder problem, but things heal. And he's shown no signs this year of having anything wrong with the top of the right shoulder that's been bothering him and caused concern last year.
They've done different exercises and a weight program to strengthen up particular muscles in the area around the shoulder, specialized training for that. And according to Michael and talking with us, he says it's really helped and he feels great. Here's an 0-2 pitch. Wong is leaning. Colton with 14 stolen bases this year.
Talked about running on Ramos, the catcher. Not a good thrower when he's feeling well. Clear he's not tonight. Limping to first base. Had problems with his right hand earlier, out talking to Scherzer. So Colton Wong, the most obvious Cardinal to take advantage of that.
I've watched Scherzer pitch a lot, whether it be against the Cardinals or on television. I can't recall him doing this. The
lollipop.
Yeah. I always try to catch his starts.
I can't remember him with that little lollipop to first base.
Long look, the 0-2. I saw him pitch a lot at the University of Missouri, called a couple of his starts.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Always a hard thrower, but now
never had a changeup.
Never like this.
No.
Nope.
Great arm, no change. The change has changed his life and earned him quite a payday.
And the 0-2. That's strikeout number 6 for Max Scherzer. College football, it's back on Fox Sports 1. And this is the game that everyone's been waiting for. Jim Harbaugh makes his Michigan coaching debut. The Wolverines take on Utah. You can see that tomorrow at 6. The pregame show sponsored by Geico. Lions dropping down the bunt. Scherzer to first, and the tying run in scoring position for Matt Carpenter, who is 0 for 2. Jeff Locke knocked out of the game for the Pittsburgh Pirates, their starter. 3 2/3, 9 hits, 5 runs. Milwaukee top of 5, a 5-3 lead.
And the struggles of the Pirates with the Milwaukee Brewers. I know they've lost 4 in a row in Milwaukee. I don't know what I forgot what they did the first time in there, but they were swept right after the All-Star break.
And for the longest time, they couldn't win there at all.
Yeah.
Two outs, runner in scoring position, and a strike to Carpenter. One thing about Harper being out too, Tim, not only his bat, one of the best hitters in the game right now, but his arm. Think about a base hit to center.
His range in
and
center
his range.
field. Yeah.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to Carpenter. 1 ball and 1 strike. Carpenter leads the club in runs scored, doubles, walks, 20 home runs, 69 RBIs. Those 80 runs scored, that's 5th most in the National League. And remember the move that the Cardinals made with Carpenter back in 2013. They put him at the leadoff spot. Only Mike Trout has scored more runs since 2013 than Matt Carpenter.
Oh, what a great note that is.
And now the 1-2. A strikeout of Carpenter. 7 tonight for Max Scherzer. Nice crowd here at Busch Stadium. A lot of strikeouts in this ball game. Lions has recorded 6 on the night. Here's Jason Worth, who was homered, and Scherzer with 7.
Strikeouts and home runs and nothing in between.
Nothing in between. Oh, 1-2 Worth. So you spent your day having a little barbecue here in St. Louis.
Yeah, I did.
Happy's?
I did. They have Memphis barbecue there.
Right up your alley.
Green line, man. I was weaned on that stuff.
2 balls and a strike on Worth.
Funny, you mentioned barbecue, and I started using ain't. You ain't lying. You start talking in the terms of eating barbecue. That's
Back
the
home
fun
in
of it.
Memphis, huh?
Yeah, your vocabulary goes right down the tank. Good recovery, huh?
Well, if someone was paying attention, they did hear tank.
Toy. Yeah, well, come on.
You could have said that.
Yeah,
fine.
of course. Yeah. Sensor didn't go off. But anyway, getting back to barbecue, it's awfully good.
3-1 pitch. A changeup on 3-1. Nationals with 6 games remaining with the Mets. Their next series with New York is on Monday night. The 3-2 is lifted into shallow left center field. And there's Piscotty. Kick off the Blues season at Busch Stadium Monday, September 21st. It's a Blues night. The purchase of the special Blues Night themed ticket, you'll receive an exclusive Blues Cardinals themed cap. Cardinals.com/theme. Rendon 1 for 2. Now with an 11-game hitting streak. First pitch popped up. There's Colton Wong, 2 down. Love the drink run with any size, any flavor McCafe shake for just $1.99 at McDonald's. We had an interesting conversation today with Dan O'Neill, the Post-Dispatch. He came in to interview you, and I don't think I've really gotten into this with you, but we've talked about how the game changed with Bob Gibson on the mound, clearly. But it literally changed because the mound was lowered. And I was curious, as was Dan, about Gibson's thoughts on lowering the mound. I mean, he could not have been pleased with that.
He's still not pleased with it. Here it is, what, 45 years later? I don't blame him. I mean, think about it. That's the way you make your living. And he was in the prime of his career at the time. And they took 5 inches of coming down into hitter and made the mound flatter, in essence. Now all mounds are 10 inches high. They vary in slopes according to the pitching staff that you have. But Bob really never forgave baseball for that. I mean, for the most part, it's over because you can't go back and do it again. But Bob was upset then, and you get him started now, and
he'll let you know he's still upset.
He'll let you know he's still upset. Oh yeah, Bob has never had a problem letting you know that.
Quick inning for Lions. We're midway through 5, and it's 2-1. West is brought to you by Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. 2, 3, and 4 in the lineup for the Cardinals. Piscotty is 2 for 2. St. Louis with 7 hits off of Max Scherzer. Solo home run by Brandon Moss, and they trail 2-1.
How about that? Scherzer starting out Piscotty with the changeup. I know Steven didn't see that much in the minor leagues.
Not like this.
No.
And then you get 94 just below the knees.
Yeah.
Here's an 0-2. And that's strikeout number 8. And Scherzer has struck out 3 of the last 4. Cardinals offense, big part why St. Louis has won 9 of the last 10, averaging nearly 7 runs a game. And this is our BJC Healthcare difference maker. Crooked innings, those crooked numbers. I'd love to talk about that when you're on offense. Just to finish up our conversation about the mound and the changes, I'm curious, 1969 you report to spring training, first month or 2 maybe of the regular season. Did you see the effectiveness or the bite of pitchers? Did it change from the year before? Was it noticeable?
I don't think so. Maybe to a small degree, but for the most part, no. But we were talking between innings, and your question, what if they'd have left the mound alone? Would Gibson and pitchers of his ilk, which there were very few, Marichal maybe.
Base hit by Hayward to left.
But pitchers of similar to Bob, would they have been as effective as they were in 1968? I don't know. I mean, one would have to assume yes.
I mean, who knows? Does Gibson come and get even better than 1.12? That'd have been tough.
That's doubtful.
But who knows? Who knows?
Of course, you know, the 1969, the year of the pitcher, and the New York Mets are world champions. So go figure.
Boy, did they have some great arms and young arms
Seaver,
at that time.
Tom Seaver, Gary Gentry, Tug McGraw, Nolan Ryan, Jerry Koosman. John Matlack was to come several years later. Kept running them out there. Boy, were they good.
Peralta 1 for 2. The Cardinals are trying to match with their pitching staff in terms of ERA the 1972 Baltimore Orioles. No team has gone this deep in a season with what the Cardinals have been able to do since 1972. And the 1-0 pitch. You think about Scherzer holding the ball too, and the effect it may have on a hitter. You know, he's ready to go.
It certainly affects the base runner. That's why he does it. That's probably the best way to interfere with the rhythm and timing of stealing second base, holding the ball, and Scherzer does it very well.
And that's what I was saying earlier. Tony La Russa used to call that from the bench. He used to have specific signals to obviously do some of the things that we all know, pitch out, throw over, but even to hold the ball, have that extensive long pause before delivering to the plate. Certainly think about running here on 2-1.
But it would more or less be a straight steal, I would think. I mean, Mike Matheny does not like to hit and run with Johnny Peralta. Too much power. 16 home runs, 22 last year.
And a base hit into right. Hayward, no hesitation on his way to third. A broken bat single for the Cardinals shortstop. Runners at the corners. And a chance again for Brandon Moss.
We'll coin a new term. That was a hit and stay. And then run. A hit, stay, and then run.
Got it.
The tough pitch from Scherzer outside, even off the plate. Peralta breaking his bat. As the players say, it died a hero. First and third for the Cardinals with a chance to tie it.
That's the pitch that Scherzer told me in spring training he was really working on. He was trying to develop an exceptional cutter.
That was a good pitch.
Sure was. Moss. Long home run, first time up. One out. Runners at first and third. That home run measured at 454 feet. Back-to-back singles.
Max Scherzer with 8 wild pitches this year. Say that because of Ramos's condition behind the plate. Problems with the lower extremities.
Did not go. Matt Williams was taking a lot of heat the last 2 nights from the Washington media and fan base. Never went to Papelbon, went to Storm yesterday. And the question was, why not go to those two when you know your season is on the line? This isn't April or May.
You know, for most managers, that 2-inning save, they just will not do it. In the face of facts that say, do it.
That's what he said last night. And again, he had a radio show this morning in Washington, and he said it wasn't a safe situation. I'm not bringing in my closer. The 1-2 to Brandon Moss. 2-2. Early in his time in St. Louis, that's the pitch right there that he would swing through or chase. And it just gives you again an idea of how well he's seeing the ball. Good cut, foul back.
That was hittable.
Get word on Bryce Harper's condition, left glute tightness. It's another 2-2. Tough pitch to take.
Ooh-wee.
Going deep into counts with these pitches seen, and this crowd ready to explode here at Busch Stadium. Strikeout number 9 for Max Scherzer. Showed you earlier with our DraftKings players to watch. The fact is, Scherzer can pitch out of jams with strikeouts. And since 2009, Arcia in the driver's seat is closing in on 1,500. Only Kershaw and Hernandez are ahead of Max Scherzer. Cardinals need a 2-out hit from Tommy Pham. Pham has had his issues. Many have with Max Scherzer, but tonight I'm not sure he's even got it a piece on a foul ball. He struck out twice, 0 for 2.
I think you're right. I mean, he is making tough pitches on all the Cardinals, but Tommy Pham in particular.
Oh-2. Pham, little flare, shallow right field. It drops for a base hit, and the game is tied. Tommy Pham comes through with a single on an 0-2 pitch.
It's a game of redemption. First the foul ball, and then the base hit. Baby steps, but you get there, and that's the most important thing. Looked like a changeup. It was a strike, and Chris Maloney and Tommy very happy, and I don't blame him. No, it looked like a slider or a cut fastball. Tommy Pham's got one of those great smiles when he lets it go from ear to ear. Nice to see.
Wong 2 for 2. In the bottom of the 5th, 6-4 Milwaukee over Pittsburgh. One ball, one strike on Colton Wong. Single to right center, then singled up the middle. Well over a month last time we saw a Colton Wong home run. Sitting on 11 this year. And he pops it up. Cardinals strand 2, but they pick up a run. The youngster Tommy Pham, all smiles for Scherzer. Some frustration for the veteran. We're tied up. It's 2-2. to go Friday night at 6:30. That's our Budweiser What's on Tap, as we'll have the game for you here on Fox Sports Midwest. Tommy Pham has tied it up with a soft liner to right, 2-out hit on an 0-2 pitch. And for Pham, that's RBI number 6. And pitching into the 6th, Tyler Lyons. Zimmerman hit a long home run back in the 4th. His 15th of the year, RBI number 65. Outfield is deep, straight away. The first pitch is taken for a ball. Depending on how this inning unfolds for Tyler Lyons, you just wonder if this may be his final inning of work. Due up second for the Cardinals.
Sure. If he can hold the Nats to 2 runs, would be Mike Matheny and the Cardinals would love that. If told before the game that would be the case, they'd say, we'll take it.
1 ball, 1 strike. You talk about being on the line. That's where Matt Carpenter is positioned. He walks into the pitch at third base, and then after that previous pitch, a step to his right near the third base line. 2-2. Said it a lot. The Cardinals 40 games above 500, 30 games to go in the season. Just the second time in the past 70 years that has happened for St. Louis. To do it within 132 games. Zimmerman hits it foul and out of play.
See, that's a quality curveball. When you could throw it that hard, that tightly wrapped to an experienced hitter like Zimmerman, and he fouls it off the other way. That's the impressive thing about Tyler Lyons, as you were saying earlier in the game. That hard curveball.
2-2. In the air. Deep right center. Pham looks up. Zimmerman has done it again. His 4th home run in this series, in the 2nd tonight.
Tyler Lyons livid. Tremendous power to right field and a straightaway. He's a straightaway power hitter. Think of his home runs. That's his 4th home run. 2 to center, 1 to slightly left center, and 1 to right center. Gets the fastball. Again, Cruz is sitting inside, and that fastball right down the pipe.
That ball's crushed.
Yes, it was.
So the Nationals back on top 3-2. Here's Yanel Escobar. And ball 1. Escobar is 1 for 2. He's flied to center and also singled to right center field. Hit to third, backing up. Carpenter. 1 out. Most home runs in the National League the last 11 days. Zimmerman really carrying this club with 7, and 4 of them coming in this series. 2 home run night. Now Ian Desmond. Seems to be a veteran that's been through the good and bad for Washington, and realizing the time is now. Sense of urgency, and that's hammered foul.
A lot of games to pick up, not a lot of time to do it.
The 1-1 pitch. from Tyler Lyons. Boston won today 13-8 over Boston, or rather New York over Boston. They began a game and a half back of Toronto in the American League East. Toronto 5-1 winners over Cleveland, so 1.5 out for the Yankees. Kansas City began play 12 games back. They got the services, or 12 games up, excuse me. They got the services of Alex Gordon. Yesterday he returned from the DL. That pitch is popped up. Moss is over, and with a play makes the catch. Houston a 3-game lead over Texas. All Sunday, starting 2 hours prior to every home game, enjoy games, prizes, and free North Star ice cream treats while supplies last in the Ford Plaza, presented by Prairie Farms.
Cole Hamels with the Texas Rangers has not pitched well since being there. Not pitching as well as National League folks have seen him pitch over the years. I mean, that guy can pitch, but the adjustment has not, the positive adjustment has not taken place yet.
Wilson Ramos 1 for 2, breaking ball and a strike. She's having a little fun.
Yes, she is. Think she cares about that solo home run?
I don't think so.
No.
Ramos lines out. Home runs, the story in this game. 3rd inning. Jason Worth. That was his 6th. And Zimmerman has had back-to-back at-bats against Lions with home runs. Number 15, and moments ago, number 16. It adds up to a 3-2 Washington lead. Home runs in a game, and tonight a little history. Number 200 in his outstanding career. Here's Tony Cruz. Greg Garcia's moved to the on-deck circle. No pinch hit for Tyler Lyons. Scherzer is not disappointed here tonight. Here's an 0-2 to Cruz, who is single tonight. Max Scherzer with 9 strikeouts. He's allowed 10 base hits. Cardinals have stranded 8. Cruz back to Scherzer. Lobs it over to first. 1 away. As promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photos to the hashtag MWDataStrongFan, presented by T-Mobile.
You know, it's interesting to note that prior to this year, Max Scherzer had 1 complete game in his major league career.
It's hard to imagine.
He has 3 this year, including the no-hitter. But at no time, postseason, regular season, 1 complete game coming into this year.
A power pitcher that certainly could go deep into games. But it does give you an idea of the specialization of the game now, too.
No, sure.
The line on Tyler Lyons, 6 innings, 6 hits, struck out 6. Gave up the 3 home runs, all solo shots. Garcia lifts a fly ball to left. And the catch is made. Espinosa. This was handed to us in between innings. It's a picture from the Post-Dispatch back in 1948. Babe Ruth is with a bunch of kids around him. One of them being Marion Green, the other one Cheryl Binghamton, now 90, and the other 82, and they are at the game tonight. There's their picture with.
What was the date on that?
Babe Ruth.
That's June 19th. The Babe died the next year in 1949, and later on during that year.
That's a base hit, fair. Carpenter on the line. In right in his first hit tonight.
Well, that ball hit right on the line, I believe. So Matt Carpenter with a 2-out in scoring position hit for the red hot Stephen Piscotty. Let's see, right on the line. Brought up Chuck. But that year, some 3-4 months later, was when the Chicago Tribune printed Dewey beats Truman. Dead wrong. How can that paper ever criticize a broadcaster after that?
You used to bring that up, right?
Yes. No, I'm bringing it up right now. Picking off all those people. All you bloggers out there.
You got Doug Harvey earlier this year.
Huh? Yep, got Doug Harvey. There are a few more. Then I'll quit.
I can't wait.
No. Just kidding now. Come on.
2 outs, no balls, and a strike on Stephen Piscotty. 2 for 3 with a couple of singles. Tying run at second base. 0-2. Thornton, the lefty, getting loose in the pen for the Nationals. Matt Thornton, they have 4 lefties now in their bullpen. This game has now grown in importance for Washington. Mets post a victory tonight, 9-4 over the Phillies. They just wrapped up So as we speak, the Nationals are 7 games back.
And have these innings been murky for the Nationals over the last 2 nights? Cardinals will try to make it murkier, even more so tonight.
If you would have told Mike Matheny before the game that Tyler Lyons will give you 6 innings, 3 runs, and that you would have 11 hits against Max Scherzer,
yeah,
you
good.
take that.
Very good point.
Little check swing that gets away. Ramos throws to first, and what a play!
My gosh, talk about a recovery, throwing on your heels really to first base over the head of Piscotty. Man, check this out. Little hesitation by Piscotty. He had no idea where the ball was. Good play by Ramos to recover.
The lead. Scherzer 6 innings, 10 hits, but he struck out 10. The Cardinals have stranded 9 tonight. Zimmerman, a couple of home runs, including number 200 of his career. 6 innings from Tyler Lyons, and Brandon Moss, a long home run early on. Looks like that's going to be it for Max Scherzer. Getting handshakes in that dugout. And now Miguel Sokolovich, our Chevy, called to the pen.
22nd appearance. He's done a pretty good job. Mike Matheny's gotten good service out of guys like Sam Tuibalala, Sokolovich, Mitch Harris, winner of last night's game.
Here's Danny Espinosa to lead off the top of the 7th. Trying to bunt his way on up the first base line and foul. The Hyundai pitch arsenal. One thing we've seen from him this year when he's been up, and he's done a very nice job, as Tim mentioned, but a good changeup. Barely on the pitching rubber is Miguel, working from the first base side. For a changeup, Tim, to be effective, and we saw it with Marco Gonzalez, there needs to be that discrepancy between the fastball and the changeup. Sokolovich will hit 90-91. You'll see the changeup about 10 miles an hour slower.
Well, Max Scherzer, the best example of that. He can get it up to 96, 95 to 97, and then throw you an 82-mile-an-hour changeup.
And taken there by Moss.
Tough to hit.
So that'll be it for Scherzer. And Clint Robinson will be the pinch hitter. If you're Matt Williams, in the back of his mind, you wonder about, let's say, the eighth. Your storing guy, your eighth inning guy is there that has had all kinds of issues in his career. And now against St. Louis, you may think it might be a mental issue right now with Storen against the Cardinals.
There's reason to believe that.
He struggled again last night. Thornton getting loose. Jansen pitched in back-to-back games, was ineffective. But just trying to get to Papelbon will be interesting to watch.
A lot to read in body language.
There's
good
that changeup.
Oh, that was a good one.
Plaza Tire Fox Tracks and the changeup. Scherzer 6 innings tonight, 11 hits, 10 strikeouts, gave up the home run and an 0-2 base hit to Tommy Pham to score the second run of the night for St. Louis.
Three straight changeup tries. They were good ones, but 2 were balls.
It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Outfield is straight away. And again, another changeup.
4 in a row.
That's when you have confidence in that changeup. 4 in a row. See Carpenter well off the line at third. Moss on the line at first. And a 3-2 pitch. Change up again. 5 in a row.
That is confidence. That's something, working on that pitch in the minor leagues, that's something that he had to tell Tony Cruz about it. And Tony, in case I get in the game, Tony may not know that. It's always more important to know your pitcher than the opposite hitters.
Jason Worth is homered tonight on a 2-2 pitch back in the third. Change up again. The Nationals with 3 solo home runs tonight. Worth in the third and Zimmerman in the fourth and again in the sixth. They lead it 3-2. The hot summer months, that can't be comfortable. The beard, the hair.
Oh man.
When you throw that changeup as much as Miguel has thrown it here tonight. We've seen time and again when he was up, a couple of different stints with the club. I also would question if there's a lack of confidence in your fastball.
I don't think so. I think it's more the latter or the earlier. Go down and work on the changeup. You want to continue working on it. But it's up to a catcher to remind him of the fastball. I mean, that's one of your jobs behind the plate. Work fast, change speeds, throw strikes. It's the mantra of any pitching coach, any good one.
The 2-2 pitch to Jason Worth.
Say it again, 3 things. Work fast, change speeds, throw strikes. Not necessarily in that order, but
got him with the strikeout.
That's what you get when you throw a lot of changeups.
Late inning magic in game 3. Who knows? Hayward from game number 1. Peralta, a couple of key hits. And Brandon Moss had the walk-off and a long home run tonight. That trio is coming up, and it's time to stretch. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. The inning will start with Thornton. 48th appearance, 2.73 ERA. Our Chevy call to the pen. And you wonder if he'll have the entire inning when you've got Peralta, then Moss. So 2 of the 3 will be from the left side.
I would think so. He's in there for at least 3 hitters.
First pitch, little squibber hit left side. Yunel Escobar, 1 away. They're legends, icons, and warriors. Starting next month, 2 of the biggest names in the UFC will face off as coaches. Interim featherweight champion Conor McGregor and Uriah Faber join an all-new season of The Ultimate Fighter. Mayhem begins Wednesday, September 9th, only on Fox Sports 1.
I was dead wrong. The right-hander's coming in to pitch to Johnny Peralta.
I thought if Hayward would have reached, he'd go to the right-hander, and he didn't.
Yeah.
So back to the bullpen they go.
Yeah, it would make sense to leave him in there with Brandon Moss on deck.
Both of us really like this right-hander, Blake Trinan, hard thrower, and he'll get Johnny Peralta here. So Thornton came in to get Hayward, one pitch and an out, and the first pitch here is a strike to Johnny Peralta.
Also, the Nats have a left-hander in their bullpen, Felipe Rivero, very impressive in 2 games, even though the Nationals have lost both games.
Oh, 1-2 the count. A 2-hit night for the Cardinals shortstop. Make it a 3-hit night. Once again, the tying run is aboard.
Sometimes, Dan, your stuff is so good that you think you can finish guys off without tantalizing them first. This ball right down the pipe. It's a pitch thrown as though the count were 2-0 instead of 0-2. And Peralta, as professional a hitter as there is in either league, doesn't make mistakes on those cookies.
And now Moss, who is homered tonight. Yeah, more times than not, you would see a right-hander maybe throw a slider or a pitch off the plate.
Yeah, tantalize him a little bit. That pitch right down Broadway.
Moss, a base hit into left. Here we go again. Brandon Moss with a 2-hit night. And Tommy Pham, who tied the game up briefly back in the 5th, has a chance to tie it up again.
Somewhere in Matt Williams' mind, and here he comes. Looks like he's going to. Now, it's a pitching coach, I beg your pardon, it's Steve McCaddy. But you could take his mind also, but somewhere back there is, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
How do we get these guys out? I mean, I know the old story about they're never out of it and all that sort of stuff, but I mean, these games have just been nightmarish for Matt Williams.
If you're Matt Williams, you know, at this point you're thinking, who can get me 5 outs to get to Papelbon, and how are we going to get there?
Yeah, right. Then at least Papelbon may cough it up, but at least we've lost the game if we do lose the right way. The middle relief the last 2 nights has just been deplorable for the Nats. Talk about at a wit's end. Drew Storen right there.
Matt Grace, a lefty, is throwing. And it might be one of those times, too, if you're Matt Williams, you're saying, Papelbon's got to go 4 outs, 5 outs tonight.
This is the time for it. I would think.
Strike 1 on Pham. It was an 0-2 pitch by Scherzer and a soft liner into right. Led to a 2-out RBI to tie it up at 2. For Pham, it was his 6th this year. Milwaukee leading Pittsburgh 8-4. That's in the top of the 8th. Again, the Pirates, Milwaukee has given them fits, but the division, they are 9 games below 500 in the Central. And a 1-1 pitch to Tommy Pham.
I guess you could say the Pirates can't solve their central problem. well, wouldn't you say that?
Now with that, I may have to ask you to take your headset off for the next 2 outs.
And leave?
No, because I know you will. Here's a 1-2.
That was waxing rather psychological.
No, I was with you the whole time. I knew where you were going to.
Sorry. These things happen.
2-2 is a foul ball.
Ooh. That was close to hitting Tommy Pham in fair territory.
You know what the problem was, too, is when I said, take your headset off, and you said, leave? You were so excited. No.
No, I was not. No. No, you're not getting rid of me that quick. No, brother. I'm hanging. What the Cardinals have done the last 2 nights will not get rid of me that easily.
That's good news. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. The count is 2-2. Ian Desmond talking to the home plate umpire.
That's a new one.
What would he possibly be saying?
You got me. I have no idea. What an unusual occurrence.
Yeah.
A long, strange meeting on the mound.
Strikeout of Pham. Now do they go back to the bullpen and a left-hander to face Wong? You'd think that they would. And as we say that, Matt Williams, long walk out to the mound. So he'll go to his bullpen, and Matt Grace will face Colton Long when we come back. Our score here at Busch Stadium: the Nationals 3, the Cardinals 2. Home half of the 7th. And Colton Wong, who has 2 hits tonight, will face a tall lefty in Matt Grace. Our Chevy called to the pen, just his 18th appearance, the high ERA in 12 innings.
And Dan, this is a curious choice right here. I mean, Matt Grace was in the minor leagues last night. He was just called up today. You've got one of the electric arms in the game, and the left-hander, Rivero. Felipe Rivero. You know, it might work out for the Nats, but a curious choice nonetheless.
Wong, base hit into center. Throw to the plate, not in time, and this game is tied. Wong delivers. A curious choice indeed.
It went from a curious choice to a horrible choice once again for the Nationals. I mean, this guy was in the minor leagues. If he were good enough to be in the big leagues, he'd have been here. And in a 3-2 game, you've got to get beat with your best. That begs the question why Rivero is not in the game.
The only thing I can think of is that he's pitched in the last 2.
Yeah, 2 innings. Not much.
And Matt Williams back to his bullpen with the right-handed hitting Tony Cruz coming up. And will the Cardinals counter on their side? Finding out the hard way. 3-3. And StubHub is the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. Cardinals stick with Cruz here. Runners at second and third. And the first pitch, a strike from Rafael Martin. Martin, 5 appearances, ERA of 9. This also may tell you what we were talking about earlier, what Matt Williams is thinking about Drew Storen. You know, Storen certainly could be in this game at this point. Your season is on the line.
That's So Cardinals tie the game off a guy who was in the minor leagues last night.
Fouled back by Cruz, who singled off of Max Scherzer to right field back in the second. He is struck out, grounded out.
It also brings up the point with your conversation with John Mozeliak last night, talking about changing that rule of bringing up everybody in September, and the temptation for managers in the pennant race using guys who were in the minor leagues instead of the guys up here. If you deplete the guys who are up here, I can understand it. In the 14th inning to try to win a game, and not in the 7th.
And let's talk about, why not Rivero? Well, we said maybe back-to-back nights, but if your season's on the line, you don't think you can get one out from him when you need
one hitter, right?
The 1-2 pitch to Tony Cruz, and a strikeout. Cardinals strand 2, but they pick up a big base hit from Colton Wong. It comes with 2 outs. It scores Johnny Peralta. The comeback Cardinals are at it again. Sports Midwest. We head to our studio and a Bommarito Sports Update. So that's where we stand right now, Pat. Thank you. 7 games for the Nationals. Could be 7.5 before this night is through. Jonathan Broxton into the game, and the first pitch is strike, and he'll get 2, 3, and 4 in this lineup. So Chevy called to the pen, and Mike Matheny using Broxton in more of these high leverage situations. And why not? He's earned it.
He certainly has.
Drew Storn is throwing in the pen for the Nationals. He'll have the 8th inning, more than likely, the bottom half. And a 1-1 pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Big gap in left center field. Fouled back by Rendon. We saw over the weekend in San Francisco, bases loaded situation. Broxton got a strikeout, and the last pitch that he threw in that particular night was 97. That was the hardest pitch he had thrown all year. His average with the Cardinals, velocity wise, has been around 93, 94. And a 1-2.
When you look at Jonathan, what's more important than his velocity, even though that 97-mile-an-hour fastball was pretty impressive, but more importantly, on a consistent basis, is if the ball maintains its heavy appearance to the hitter. Much more important than speed is what the ball does when it's on the fat part of the bat.
One point in his career, he was lights out as a closer for the Dodgers. But at that point in time, he was consistently 98, 99.
Yeah.
Triple digits.
Big man. 305 pounds.
The 2-2. Be careful here with Rendon. Just 3 home runs this year, but the reason why is he's dealt with injuries, in particular with his knee. This is a very good player at the plate. The 3-2. And he walked him. Leadoff walk. Brings in Matt Dendecker. And remember, Bryce Harper lifted in this game with a glute injury, so that is huge. Not facing Harper in this spot. You get Dendecker, the former Met.
Possibility of a bunt right here, but if you do that, the Cardinals will walk Zimmerman, pitch to Escobar. Dendecker, a pretty good hitter. And against a guy like Broxton, even though Broxton is not a good guy fielding his position. So all the things to consider if you're Matt Williams.
And the bunt is down. It's up the first base line. Moss to Colton Wong. And Rendon is in scoring position. You wouldn't think there's any chance he'd pitch to Ryan Zimmerman. He's swinging the bat.
Not after what he has done his last 2 times up in this 3-game series. The only bright spot for the Nats.
Zimmerman with a pair of home runs tonight, and 4 of them in the 3 games of this series.
Mike Matheny knows he's taking a chance right here.
You think about, having him chase. You talk about getting arms extended. He can do damage.
Yes.
You're going to pitch him away. That might be in his wheelhouse.
Yeah. Good point.
Bryce Harper back on May 6th had a 3-home run night.
If the ball is so ridiculously outside, he's not going to swing at it anyway. It's got to be close. And if it's close, that's his power spot.
And a 1-0 pitch. I don't know about you or our viewers, but I am really surprised Cardinals are pitching to Zimmerman here.
Yeah, I am too.
He's 2 for 8 with 3 strikeouts against Jonathan Broxton. The other part of this, too, is that you set up a potential double play off the bat of Escobar, who was hit into 18 this year. Two and one the count. The 2-1. 2-2.
Sometimes if you're a power hitter and you're on fire, you're looking to be pitched around, and you end up taking a ball that you'd normally hammer. That last pitch was an example of that. No, it's going through your mind. What are they trying to do to me? Are they going to pitch to me? Or?
The 2-2. Broxton to Zimmerman. I mean, clearly they're pitching to him.
Yeah.
The first pitch was about a foot outside, and then after that, a call went Broxton's way, and it may have changed the thinking of the Cardinals in the at-bat.
Right on the money.
The go-ahead run at second base. The 2-2 pitch to Zimmerman. Hits it down the right field line and a base hit. Off the sidewall, and a run will score. On his way to second base and in with a double. They pitched to him and they got burned. 4-3 Washington.
I think your point about Escobar is an excellent point. 18 double plays on the year. But this slider just hanging right there, and Ryan Zimmerman, who loves the ball away. Not likes it, he loves the ball away.
Which was the other part of the equation we talked about.
Yes, right.
So one out and a runner at second, and now Yanel Escobar. Ryan Zimmerman, 3 RBIs on the night. The 18 double plays that Escobar has hit into, that's a team high as well. So if you would have pitched around Zimmerman, you certainly would have understood why. And if you got burned on it, you got burned on it.
Well, that's one of the reasons that we didn't think Dendecker was going to be bunting, because you end up taking Zimmerman's bat out of the lineup. But Mike Matheny chose to pitch to him, and the Nats take the lead once again.
Escobar thought it was outside, and it's 1-2 as he have words with the home plate umpire. The 1-2 and a strikeout of Yanel Escobar. Bruce Storn getting loose in the pen, who has blown 5 saves against the Cardinals in his career. And Ian Desmond will be the hitter. Two outs, runner at second base. Chopped off the plate. Tough here for Carpenter, no play. And an infield hit for Ian Desmond, and Wilson Ramos will be the hitter.
No chance for Carpenter. He was playing deep with a runner on his second base and 2 outs, playing a step back. No chance. Fake, and then looked at third in case Zimmerman rounded the bag. Infield hit for Desmond.
Wilson Ramos with 2 outs, runners at first and third. Single to right back in the fourth. First pitch to him. Strike one. The walk comes back to haunt Broxton. A leadoff walk to start the inning after the Cardinals had tied it up.
They always score. You know, we kind of say that knowing that they don't always score, but it just seems like you walk the leadoff man and it leads to nothing but trouble. Always.
Here's an 0-1 pitch. See where Desmond started towards second base. If he would have continued, he would have swiped that bag easily. He has 12 steals this year. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Cardinals, by the way, will have a pinch hitter, then the top of the lineup coming up. So the Nationals will still have to go through the heart of the Cardinals order before this one is through. The 1-1 pitch. Ground ball to third. Carpenter, plenty of time, and throws a strike to Moss. The Cardinals elect to pitch to Ryan Zimmerman at a move that did not pay off. Slapped it the other way. Rendon scores the go-ahead run. Washington on top, 4-3. The Cardinals, it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Well, he ignited a rally last night. Cody Stanley with a double, scored on the home run by Moss, and The Nationals go to Drew Storen, 54th appearance, and our Chevy called to the pen.
Eerily familiar to the first 2 games in this series. The Nats, once again, they would be in a position to sweep the series if they played only the 8th innings.
And that's
they've been ahead in all the 8th innings.
And it's worth repeating, the franchise, the Expos, moved to Washington, began play in 05. There you see after the trade what he's done. They had never had back-to-back losses like that.
Great job by Dan Hyatt coming up with that fascinating story within the game. It's always fun to think about things like that, but never in their 10-year history have they played 2 games like they have the first 2 games of this road trip.
When it happens in April and May or June, it's part of baseball. When it happens when you're chasing in September, tough to swallow.
Yeah, everything is looked through the microscope in September much more than the other months.
2-1 is popped up off the bat of Stanley. Out of play. Drew Storen, we've chronicled his struggles against the Cardinals. His ERA against St. Louis is over 6 in his career. Pete Kozma had that dramatic hit in 2012. Cardinals last year got to him.
I think David Bell may be talking, if Stanley gets on, you're the runner.
3-2.
All right, could be Borges.
It's 7 home runs this year, did Stanley at Memphis. 3-2. May have chased a ball, and he strikes out to start the home half of the 8th.
This game has been played so methodically, hasn't it? The moves that have been made are so methodical. I don't know a better word to describe this game.
Think about how Matt Williams dealt with the 7th. It was batter to batter with every matchup.
Yeah, right.
One ball, 1 strike. I mean, just look at that 7th inning there for Matt Williams. Used 3 different pitchers to get 3 outs. Thornton, Trinan, Martin. Now it's Storen here in the 8th. Crowd tonight of 41,489. I would say this, his breaking ball seems to be a lot sharper here this evening.
Breaking ball on a fastball count, that 2-1 slider.
Milwaukee holds on and defeats Pittsburgh tonight. Locke takes the loss 7-9. 9-4 the final. So as we sit, the Pirates 6.5 games behind St. Louis. The 2-2. Two strikeouts for Drew Storen.
Good breaking ball on cue, Dan. Picking up on that. No, but the Cardinals want to be greedy. Greed is very healthy in September. It's healthy all the time. But obviously, tough game right here, and you're close enough to close the door on this team and perhaps sweep them.
Gordon Gekko would agree with your assessment. Greed is good.
Yes, I think that was in that movie.
Wall Street.
Yeah. Good going with Gekko.
1 ball, 1 strike on Stephen Piscotty. Two hits tonight, 2 strikeouts. Outfield is deep. 1-2. Think about that breaking pitch. Would he hang one here on the 1-2? Fastball fouled back. Strikes out the side. Store and bounce back here in game number 3. Sends us to the 9th. Nationals on top 4-3. .48 for Steve Cishek. Many have asked me about what he does right there. And he is reading a verse from the Bible. He has various verses from the Bible that he takes out of the back pocket each and every night that he comes in and pitches. Uses it to motivate himself to focus. And that's why he does it. Here's Danny Espinosa. First pitch is in on his hands and a foul ball. Now, one of the things Mike Matheny could be thinking in that situation with Ryan Zimmerman, not saying he is, might be, who knows. But you're also trying to figure out what you have in Jonathan Broxton.
No, not the time. No.
Just throwing it out there.
What you have?
Well, you know, looking ahead for the next 4 weeks or so, you think about tough situations.
Nah. No.
No, I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying maybe one of the things he's thinking about.
No.
Oh, will you just work with me here?
No.
Just work with me.
I refuse to work with you on this particular point. You know what, though? If he goes out there and says, pitch him inside off the plate. If you hit him, you can't help it. Mm-hmm. You know, that's where you got to throw him to get him out, is inside. But by pitching around, you know, pitching him away, you're pitching into his strength. Clearly. He's shown that. 4 home runs in this series, likes the ball away. So,
and there you have it.
No, I don't agree with. I don't. I know you're just throwing those things out, but take them back.
I take it back right now.
Okay. I mean, that's, you know, everybody's got a different opinion, but we talked about it before it happened. So,
yep.
You know, in fairness.
I thought what was really interesting, though, was the point that you made, in which you bunt with Den Decker, then leave first base open, and to me that seals the decision for Mike Matheny to put Zimmerman on.
I mean, that's why we didn't think Den Decker would be bunting, because if it's successful, it opens up first base.
And that's hit out of play. Been an up and down year for Steve Cishek. Began this season as the closer in Miami, then at one point sent down, trying to get right, comes back up, and with St. Louis it's been a little up and down too. Out of play again. The picture on the video board here at the ballpark is Danny Espinosa with one of the great mustaches you'll find. That picture looks like Corky Miller with a Washington Nationals cap on it. Corky played for Cincinnati. There's a fly ball out to left, and the catch made by Piscotty.
I can't even comment on that. I don't know Corky Miller. This idea with Piscotty, who is a very good outfielder, he never panics. That's the one thing that you can see about his personality that makes him that type of ball player. He never gets flustered. Does things as easily as anybody on the Cardinal roster. Very smooth, good athlete, but you don't really know it by watching him, because everything's so easy, appears to be so easy.
Doesn't show a lot of emotion either.
No, good or bad.
Well, there was the Big Red Machine, by the way, in Cincinnati. Great era of baseball, and then there was the Corky Miller era.
Corky was after that era?
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
obviously it stood out for you. Catcher in their system for a number of years. Up and down, up and down.
Was he a teammate of Gene Locklear, perhaps? The outfielder, the fourth outfielder, who is a Native American, by the way, and is doing portrait painting in New Mexico right now, and it's unbelievably successful.
How would you know that?
I've kept up with Gene Locklear. I really like this guy. Gene Locklear was a fourth outfielder for the Cincinnati Reds. And he does, I mean, his paintings are worth a lot of money. He's really a very successful artist, yes. I think it's Santa Fe. Could be Taos. I'm not sure. But I remember Gene Locklear because he did a post-game interview with Al Michaels at the time doing the Cincinnati Reds. And Al asked him to sum up the game. And he said, Al, you could sum it up in one word. You never know. You
great.
never know. Isn't that wonderful? Only in baseball.
And people don't realize Al Michaels spent some time in the big leagues with the Cincinnati Reds. His minor league broadcasting career took him to Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Then obviously you worked with him for
oh gosh,
how many years?
Long time. 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, ABC.
3-2.
Great guy, and as good as they come as a broadcaster.
We've talked about it. Boy, is he fun to listen to. He can do anything. Basketball, hockey, football. And that call of 1986 in the home run. Dave Henderson off of Donnie Moore. Angels and Red Sox. That famous home run. There's a strikeout of Dan Uggla. It should be mentioned, by the way. I'm going to embarrass you here for a second. You always get mad at me when I say these things, but it should be mentioned in Al Michaels' book. He said the two best analysts he ever worked with, John Madden, Tim McCarver.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
And that's coming from one of the greats that ever did this and still does. I enjoyed his book.
I did too. Some of those stories I'd heard for years, the Cosell era, were classic, hilarious.
How about his story in Kansas City with Cosell?
Oh yeah, with the
kids in
the
the
young
street.
kids on the street. Yeah, boxing.
Yeah, they said that
Cosell getting out of the limo, the ABC limo.
They're in a seedy area of town, and kids are fighting, and Cosell steps out of the limo and starts doing play-by-play of the street fight. And the kids stop and they say, "What? That's Howard Cosell." And Al said he didn't think they were going to make it out of there in that part of town.
Yeah, yeah, little dicey.
Here's a 1-1. Ground ball off the bat of Worth, charging and making the play. Peralta.
His greatest line in the 80 hockey game, USA, do you believe in miracles? Yes, we've seen 2 with the Cardinals in the first 2 games. Will we see another one?
Jonathan Papelbon is perfect in save opportunities. The Phillies and the Washington Nationals, 1.78 ERA, 22 of 22. This is our Chevy call to the pen. Nationals, the last 2 nights, they're doing everything to get to them. Now they have. Closed out a game against the Cardinals earlier this season while wearing the Phillies uniform. Had some tremendous seasons with the Boston Red Sox.
World Series champs. That dance on the infield, that was funny. That was after the Red Sox they broke the slump from in 2004. Had not won since 1918, 96 years. And Papelbon was part of it.
First pitch to Hayward. And a strike at the knees. Hayward with a base hit tonight to left. And remember, back in the late, I'd say 2008, 2009, the big talk around the Red Sox was whether or not to make Papelbon a starter.
Yeah. There was talk about that.
Trevor Rosenthal, we hear that. Eventually could start at some point in his career. Something he would like to do. These fans have been treated to such great baseball the last 2 nights and all year long here at Busch Stadium. Only 19 losses coming into play tonight at home. The 2-1. Hayward slaps it the other way, and it's a base hit. And here we go.
Talk about finding a crease. Third baseman Yunel Escobar was way off the line, and that ball was hit right where the second hop got right by him, right there. Ian Desmond couldn't get to it. Looked like Escobar may have short-armed it a little bit, but you kind of understand that was a tricky hop with overspin to get by him.
And now Peralta. 16 home runs this year for Johnny. He had a walk-off homer against Pittsburgh earlier this year. Hayward started towards second base. If he kept going, he's in scoring position. He had a tremendous jump. Peralta just 2 for 13 against Papelbon. It has been over a month since Peralta has hit a home run. Oh, 1 pitch. Oh, 1-2.
What makes Hayward reluctant to run here is it's the 9th inning. When you're trailing by 1 run, you're a little cautious about being thrown out at second base, whereas in the 2nd inning, it doesn't bother you as much. You may remember the first World Series the St. Louis Cardinals won, 1926. And in the 7th game with 2 outs and Babe Ruth on at first base, he was thrown out trying to steal, and the series was over. It seems like that's like the poster child for anybody on first you know, in the 9th inning of an important game.
The 1-2. Peralta with a high fly ball into right center. Hayward got back to the bag to tag up, but stays put. 1 down. He did it last night and a chance to do it again. Brandon Moss homered earlier. Struck out twice and also singled. Hayward is running, and the pitch is driven into right. Hayward stopped at second, now on his way to third. Moss a 3-hit night.
He didn't pick up the ball again. It almost cost him. He went for the decoy of shortstop Ian Desmond. You've got to pick up the ball. Some runners think that it slows them down. When you look back toward home, it doesn't. When you think about it, if you can't run in a straight line and look back, not thinking about it. See, he thought, the shortstop Ian Desmond thought, or made Hayward think that there was a play on him. He picks up the third base coach, Jose Oquendo, who waves him toward third base, but that was almost disastrous.
Borges will pinch run for Moss. Here's Tommy Pham. Borges would run, it almost seems like the Nationals would give him second base.
Maybe with Pham hitting. I know that sounds strange with him representing the winning run.
Is this something or what?
It's or what?
Incredible. Here they are again with a chance to tie it, potentially win it. We are in the bottom of the 9th. And a 1-0 pitch to Tommy Pham. Pulled foul. Pham struck out. Back in the 2nd, the 3rd, and again in the 7th. And he had a 2-out RBI soft liner, a base hit into right off of Max Scherzer, the starter tonight for Washington, back in the 5th. Little bigger lead this time for Borges. He is running.
No chance would Ramos have had. Pham, of course, taking a shot. I think it's interesting if the Nationals are in double play depth. If Borges is running, that changes their strategy on a ground ball to an infielder. They may have to come home because Borges will be at second base. That's the advantage the Cardinals have in sending Borges.
Leaning, not running, and a ball. 2-2.
See, if Borges is running, that takes the double play away. So now you have to concentrate on coming home to get Hayward.
Tough pitch that Pham took, just like last night. The check on Borges.
Jose trying to explain all those things briefly to Hayward.
The 2-2. Pham strikes out. Oof. Big strikeout. Now the Cardinals down to their final out. Colton Wong with 3 hits tonight. Tony Cruz on deck.
You can test the manager's daring do right here by walking Wong. Tony Cruz would be, you'd put the winning run in scoring position, but Tony Cruz would be pinch hit for by Yadi Molina.
Strike one on Wong.
We have had myriad possibilities of manager moves here in the last three innings, haven't we?
It's been great.
It has. It's the beauty of the game. Again, especially in September.
The 0-1-2, Colton Wong. Little chopper, slowly hit right side. Race to the bag, and Papelbon is there. And the Nationals salvage a game in this series. They hold on for the 4-3 win. Ryan Zimmerman, a big night for Washington. Their leader with a couple of home runs, a double, and 3 RBIs. Hit 4 homers in this series. He's our Budweiser player of the game.
Boy, 3 great games against the Nationals. Just a terrific series overall.
So the Nationals pick up a win in this series. The final of 4-3. Pat and Ricky standing by. They've got all the highlights, news around the league, and a look and a breakdown of this game. 4-3. Our final tonight.